Today, we're going to be going over how Jack Nicklaus sidestepped certain criticism before receiving his honors at St. Andrews. Over at St. Andrews, Jack Nicklaus has successfully maintained his navigational abilities. He navigated the old course with enough precision and aim to win the Claret Jug in 1970 and 1978, but in 2022, the 82-year-old avoided injuries about the sport's simmering civil strife. Let's take a closer look at the situation. First off, the star's careful choice of words. Given that he was allegedly offered millions of dollars to support the Saudi Arabia-backed series, he may have good reason to be apprehensive of the rebel LIV series. Instead, Greg Norman is the focal point of everything LIV, which is why the R&A chose not to invite the Australian to this week's previous champion events. To be quite honest with you, I don't know anything about it, Nicklaus said in reference to the dispute between Norman and the R&A. The golfing star claimed to have very little knowledge of what transpired. In fact, Nicklaus said that he was fully aware that they chose not to invite Norman, but he had no further information to give out at this time. Nicklaus provided just a little more information when he was asked if Norman's reputation had suffered as a result of his LIV affiliation and endorsement. The 18-time major champion said that he would like to just sum up the situation with a couple of sentences. Nicklaus stated that Greg Norman is a legend in the sport of golf to start. He is also undoubtedly a superb athlete as well. The two have known one another for a very long time, and no matter what, they'll always be buddies, according to the star. Unfortunately, he believes that Norman and him simply don't agree on what is happening and that there's nothing more to say beyond that. Just to make sure the press doesn't pester him further, he decided to stop right there and clearly communicated how he felt when he told the press not to ask him about this ever again. Secondly, a moment of celebration for the star. It turned out to be a rare instance of sincerity during a press conference where Nicklaus reflected on the past in this manner. He will become an honorary resident of the town of St. Andrews on Tuesday night. Nicklaus had not played here in 17 years, after ending his open participation in 2005 with a missed cut. The previous two times, in 2010 and 2015, he declined to come back to St. Andrews. In his own words, he claimed to have said his goodbyes back in 2005 and didn't want to come back and water down the moment for what it truly meant to him. When pondering over what that moment meant for him, he said it was a profound experience. With all that said, however, he felt that he had to return when he received the offer this time around to become an honorary citizen and follow in the footsteps of the likes of Benjamin Franklin and Bobby Jones. So, overall, he felt that it's great to be back. The atmosphere was lighthearted, and Nicklaus joked about how, in case you missed it the first time around, he brought the same weather back with his arrival, which was about the same time as it was when he played in 2005. Just from the pictures alone, even we have to agree that the weather was absolutely lovely. In any case, he's just glad to be back. Coincidentally, Barbara and him are also back in the same hotel room that they've been in each time they visited St. Andrews, and they anticipate a fantastic couple of days moving forward. Coming up, the disrespectful shot. Tiger Woods was playing a 4-hole Champions Challenge when he posed with him on the famous Swilcan Bridge. Woods stated 17 months after a car accident in which he narrowly avoided death that he's doing fine now. Soon enough, it's gonna be game day, so he believes that he just needs to be patient until then. Woods was hoping to position himself to be competitive on Sunday's back nine. It's interesting to note that Nicklaus does not share the general apprehensions about the old course's reputation suffering if players from today's generation achieve very low open scores. The fair weather, which Nicklaus mentioned, has strengthened the idea that rounds in the low 60s or even the high 50s are possible. Veteran golf spectators find the idea to be extremely disrespectful. May shoot low, but what the heck, said Nicklaus. It was his belief that's kind of how he views these things. Compared to what they shot a century ago, everybody's shooting low now. However, as time passes, golfers, equipment, and course conditions all improve, and hence they consequently shoot poorly according to the star. He went on to say, to be honest, he doesn't think it really makes much of a difference overall. Because of what it is and where it is, St. Andrews will produce a terrific champion. Always has been. That's how he views the situation. Now, in other news. First off, LIV players are having it pretty bad. Members who participated in the very first Grand Saudi-funded LIV Golf Invitational Series event were indefinitely barred from 3 tournaments and fined an insane $177,000 each by the DP World Tour recently leading up to the weekend. Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood, and even the likes of Ian Poulter all participated in the event held just outside of London earlier this month, even though they had not been given permission to do so by the tour initially, which, by the way, was formerly known as the European Tour. Minutes after the first tournament finally began, the US PGA Tour issued a ban to its players, while the DP World Tour took longer to take a stance on the matter. Many fans and officials of the sport have speculated that they would take a calmer approach than the PGA. However, claiming a violation of the rules, the tour has now imposed sanctions, including bans from the upcoming Scottish Open, the Barbasol Championship, and even the Barracuda Championship, all of which are standing by Monahan's stance and co-sanctioning players alongside the PGA PGA Tour. These sanctions also include massive six-figure fines, which sounds like a lot, but LIV's lucrative financial packages for players are definitely going to be cushioning this fall in a big way. The DP World Tour also warned that participation in any further LIV Golf events, the next of which begins in Portland, Oregon, the following week, could result in even more sanctions for the players beyond this. Coming up, the man behind the scenes over at LIV has a few words to say about the hypocrisy. As the US Open week finally came to an end, Norman, who is the public face of the contentious Saudi Arabia-sponsored LIV Golf Series, spoke with Fox News' One Nation with Brian Kilmeade to make his stance clear and clear up some rumors. He retaliated against the several PGA-affiliated detractors of LIV Golf, including the likes of famous sports analyst Bob Costas, who recently claimed that Norman and the other golfers he assisted in luring away, such as Phil Mickelson, are receiving blood money. A pretty bold claim by Costas, who didn't go any further to support this claim with further statements or any evidence regarding this. Norman reportedly stated that he's honestly pretty unhappy when individuals of any background, sports or otherwise, try to go down that road. This statement comes quoted courtesy of USA Today Sports, who are covering the matter. Norman went further to state that if such critics of his and the players at LIV want to view the entire situation through a narrow prism, then he's got some pointers that he'd love their honest opinions on. Next up, bias and controversy. LIV Golf's first ever US event was scheduled to start fairly recently, but a group of 9/11 victims' families and survivors planned to protest the Saudi Arabia-funded tour by gathering in a nearby park on that day. When the World Trade Center collapsed, Brett Eagleson, who was 15 years old at the time, lost his father. On that day in 2001, about 3,000 people met their tragic end. According to Eagleson, we want the golfers to know who they're sleeping with and doing business with. He went on further to say that any golfer who decides to participate in the LIV competition should be required to pay attention to the family members, look at us in the eyes, and justify their participation in the tournament to us. Additionally, he said that he wants to be able to inform the golfers about the Saudi role in 9/11. Eagleson, who is 36 years old, is one of those condemning the LIV event for being associated with a government that has violated human rights on countless occasions. Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda and the attack's planner, was born in the Saudi monarchy, and all but 4 of the 19 hijackers on September 11 were Saudi nationals. While this may be jumping to conclusions and taking a slightly controversial stance, Eagleson is standing by his views. About 20 miles west of Portland's downtown, at Pumpkin Ridge Golf Course, the LIV Golf Invitational gets underway very soon. The mayor of North Plains and representatives from neighboring communities, however, objected to the event long before it arrived in the small town, writing to the club's Texas-based owner to express their displeasure and claim that it went against local values. And that's a wrap for this video. How do you feel about the way Nicklaus tackled the situation in light of the drama and controversy surrounding the sport of golf at this time? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one.